I step up on a diamond, 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 diamonds on my wrist. When I step up on
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, breaking down 3 industry articles every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to bring the realities of the transportation industry to you guys. Let's see, it's Friday, Freight and Friday. Here's your pre-warning for next week. Next week is a holiday week. I know that Monday, the July 4th is the following, but again, get prepared, get ahead, get in front of these things, and your prices are going to change as well. You know, this is what happens around this time. And segue into, got to give the shout out to the people who make this show possible and keep these neon lights and other lights on here day in and day out for you. This show is brought to you by my friends over at Bitfreighter. You guys, with the holiday freight that's coming up here and everything, they literally have released their tool called LiveQuote. It is a fully automated truckload quoting API platform. LiveQuote is leveling the playing field for all logistics providers to participate in the $100 million real-time rating API marketplace. If you don't have LiveQuote technology to provide automated quotes to shipper TMS platforms like BlueJay and OTM, you are literally leaving money on the table. With no transaction fees, you can cast a wide net with unlimited API quoting with the LiveQuote SaaS monthly subscription. Sign up today with Bitfreighter to start participating in the $100 million API marketplace. Visit www.bitfreighter.com/connect today to learn more. Do me a favor, you guys. Let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. That helps out a lot with everything. And then also my friends over at VHub, you guys, they are the flagship sponsor of this and the Freight Coach Network. They're behind me. They believe in me. And hell, I appreciate them a lot. I appreciate all my advertisers. I appreciate all you guys in the audience as well. But again, asset reallocation, trailer repositioning, it is an untapped potential for us here in the freight market to utilize this to provide additional solutions for our customers. My man Xavier Campos, he's already in the audience. He's your point of contact over there at VHub. But again, you guys, they have these trailers right now. And again, these are brand new 2022 dry vans, you guys. They are picking up in, they have them available in Clearfield, Utah, Paragould, Arkansas, as well as Glade Spring, Virginia. And they pay $1,850. All right, they're all going to Delta, BC. $1,850 on top of the revenue of the freight that you put in the back of that trailer. So look into that, you guys. Again, this is to help curb some of these astronomical costs that we find ourselves in today's current climate. And then also domestically here, they have trailers down there in San Diego, California, looking to go up to Spokane, Washington, and as well over to one of my favorite metropolitan areas in the nation, DFW. They have them out there. And again, you get paid $500 to go over there. That can help offset some of your fuel costs and everything else. And again, you guys hit them up, vhubapp.com. My man Xavier Campos, he is already in the audience as well. He's out there representing. Yeah, that's right, Tammy. Happy Friday. Samantha Bass, happy Friday. Orange Shirt Gang, she also dropped. That's right. We're getting this. Anthony Petit, the Italian stallion. Good morning, sir. And then, yeah, Xavier Campos, good morning to you, brother. And speaking of stallions, I have the best looking man in freight here with me today, my man, Kyle Lintner, to break down. What's up, brother? How are you?
What's going on? I'm doing well. How about you?
Oh, I can't complain. You know, it's Freight Friday. It's, I'm fired up. I have a standing 7 a.m. Pacific time client meeting every single day, man. And
why so late?
Why so late? 7 a.m.? No, dude, my alarm goes off at 3:30 every morning.
I know. I've got your text at 3:45.
But no, man, I'm fired up because with one of my, with a lot of my clients, there's a lot of opportunity that's out there right now. That's, it's kind of contrary to a lot of the stuff that we see, because at the end of the day, regardless of what's going on, freight is still moving and you still have to provide solutions.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I have nothing to dispute or add to that. That's a fact.
But hey, we're up to day 55. This is literally what's crazy. It's the 55th Freight Coach Morning Show already. It seems like just yesterday I had said, fuck it, I got to speak up and say something. And here we are, and we're at day 55. And with that being said, there's still that truck parking issue that's out there, as well as the facilities issue. And I mean, man, I just literally talked to a driver last night. Because I do actually talk to these drivers. I do speak with them and try and provide insight and value as much as I possibly can. And man, it's just wild to hear the stories that these guys literally go through, not the headlines about what's going on from an executive team that hasn't been behind the wheel before, but like the one truck. I mean, dude, like this guy, man, like what he's gone through in the first 3 years, like he worked his ass off to pay off his equipment. And then, with typical entrepreneurship and business, the fucking engine went out in his truck. So there's a $30,000 one and everything else. And, it's like, and he's just in a position now where it's like, fortunately, like, yeah, it's not easy. It's not in the clear, but it's the importance of saving for that rainy day and having those reserves and taking care of your business, because shit, there's just so much out of your control in life,
Low rates.
Yeah. No, absolutely. There's not a one size fits all out there. And then, I don't need to remind anybody of this. We all know what the fucking price is at the pump of $5.81 a national average. It's just, I don't know. And I broke down Biden's slap in the face policy yesterday about the temporary holiday from the gas tax. It's get the fuck out of here. Take your $4 and give it to somebody else, because that's what we love to do here. So, yeah. What's your opinion on that though? I want to know, man, because you know, like a 60, 90 day temporary relief, but it's like 20 cents for diesel or 22 cents. Like that's like $50.
Yeah. There's not a lot of levers that the government can pull to change prices of things. That's a good thing. It shouldn't be like that. They shouldn't have control over things like this. I think just because in years past, there have been things behind the scenes that sometimes politicians do to try and persuade things. The usual is the release of strategic oil reserves. But given how much we have and what we could release, that doesn't do much either. So the eliminating the federal taxes, it's not much. Where I live, the majority of the taxes are local. Or on the state level. It's $1 more than whatever the actual retail price once you get done with all the taxes. So I don't know. Maybe there's some hope that the president he sets the standard and says we'll pause the taxes, and then hopes that all the other municipalities will do the same. But unless you get them to sign on to it, I know there's zero chance in Illinois, this broke state, that they're going to give up the money on that, because that would need to be replaced from something else they don't have.
Yeah.
But it's not a big enough dent. You're right. It doesn't do anything. But there are people who argue we shouldn't even have that pause or that holiday, as they're calling it, on it, because some people kind of want to rip the Band-Aid off. I put something on LinkedIn a week or so ago about this. It's just the high price is meant to eliminate some demand that doesn't really need to be there, to force people to change their behavior so that we stop consuming so much. And at that point, then prices can recede, because otherwise, if we're all going to keep buying crap that goes on trucks that requires diesel for the production, facilitation, and the movement of the goods, not to mention all of the gasoline ourselves that we want to use, the price isn't going to come down. Start carpooling, start riding a bike, start walking. And that's the easiest way not to fill up at the pump, right? I know the drivers, there's nothing they can do about it. Yeah. But if we start using less of the other products, diesel comes down.
I guess with I don't like establishment politicians. I don't like the establishment politics that go on out there. I don't like the pandering that comes along with that, of like, oh, we're doing you a favor. No, you're actually fucking telling me to fuck myself. That's the way I perceive it when somebody's trying to say, oh, I'm doing you a favor by saving you $4 a week. No, you're not. I can't even buy a fucking gallon of milk with that. I'm lactose intolerant, but that's irrelevant. But you know what I mean, though? It's like, to me, it's just like, damn, I just don't, I just want reality, man. Like that's all I want with everything, is I just want reality. Don't paint a picture or a facade that you're doing something that you're actually not. I just don't like the bullshit.
I think there is a human condition that makes us feel awkward and odd about fuel, similar to energy prices. If your home utility bills were so variable and suddenly exploded, you'd feel the same way. It's because we can put our heads around the high cost of something if it's tangible, if it gets inside of our hands and we can feel it and see it and touch it. But when we're going to the pump and just putting it inside of a car and then we never actually see anything, it's hard for us to connect the dots and realize everything else that we did with those gallons of gas. So we just want to grab our pitchforks and scream because the cost of doing that is doubled. Yeah. If this was something else, and we heard the government was getting involved to regulate the price of a widget, we would all grab our pitchforks and say, get the hell out of here, government, leave us alone. But when it comes to gas, we all want to freak out about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're not wrong there by any stretch of the imagination. Andrew Teal, people haven't stopped buying due to the fuel price. They stopped buying other things to afford the fuel.
Yeah.
We're not reducing demand with 18 cents a gallon reduction. Yeah, it's can't agree with that. I mean, Anthony Petit brings up a point I can't argue against. We have decades of oil reserves in the U.S. Biden doesn't want to open this. He likes his hands in foreign trade. It's a great kickback for him. I think it's a great kickback for a lot of establishment politicians that are out there. And I personally, I think that is what needs to be addressed more than anything, because I think the hardworking men and women of this country are getting sold a bill of goods that they're doing something that they're not at our expense through our tax dollars that are being funneled through other things.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, you don't have a long enough show to start talking about the lobbyist union.
I know. We can we might have to do that another day. But no, I just think that at the end of the day, we just got to protect ourselves first and foremost as a country. I think I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I'm like, hey, listen, if you were down to your last $100 and it was your family eating or me eating, what are you going to do? You're going to protect your house and feed your family. Rightfully so. That's how I view the world in general. Is we got a lot of shit we got to fucking work on here first and get in line here first. And again, perfection doesn't exist. The utopia does not exist, but we need to do better. I mean, shit, look at the city you live in, man. It's fucking insane out there. And that's never even addressed.
No. And yes.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll get on to trucking talk here, because this article, it's now switched into a great purge is pushing small truckers out of business at an unprecedented rate. This is coming from Freight Waves. This goes on to get a broker's opinion out of this right away, which is always interesting. Chris Tucker needed to move some hot tubs, it says. The Winchester-based owner of Full Coverage Freight recently advertised a truck on a load board that it had a shipment of hot tubs headed from Seattle to a small town in the middle of Wisconsin. That rate came out to under $2 a mile, which he thought was low. He expected drivers to haggle with his company and pay at least $2.50 a mile, or about $1,000 more for the gig. Instead, his phone was slammed. Seasonally speaking, outbound Washington and Oregon right now are extremely loose. The only time that area ever tightens up is around Christmas tree time and everything else, because there's actually freight to mix. So again, that lane in particular, I mean, that's always an outbound. It's always soft in Washington and Oregon this time of year. It goes on to say that it's not an ideal situation for America's 2 million drivers. Too many amount of work, or too many truck drivers for the amount of work available means lower pay. And it goes on to say in 2019 recession that all these trucking companies declared bankruptcy. And then it goes on that these past few months have made Tucker believe that we're about to enter a great purge or another spate of major bankruptcies. He predicted in June, which hosts for the Rate Per Mile Masters Facebook group, which has 33,000 trucking professionals. I don't think there's enough freight out there to justify existence anymore. I got to disagree with that, considering freight volumes are still up. I think that there is enough work out there. There is. It's just, again, it's that. I'm sorry. I'll let you go. Like after, like what's your opinion on a lot of this, man?
This article is weird in the sense that there are a lot of components of this that are accurate or start down the path of it, but then deviate and get into areas that almost ask you to pause your belief and logic, and then possibly just are flat out wrong. And that's, it's both sides of everything here. And both sides of to me, the truth, but not even both sides of the story. And that's what I hate about it is, first of all, there's a lot of references to other articles in this that are from the same publication. And I always pause when I see that, because you have the tendency to get into the echo chamber. But what I don't like is, you hit on the first thing of this, is that's volumes are actually flat to slightly higher. So I don't want to hear that there's less business. The other thing I really don't like about this is it gives partial truths in the sense that it says, the freight is shifting from spot to contract where the larger players dominate. They keep dropping these little breadcrumbs that it's getting harder for the small guys.
Yeah.
And that is. But if we go back to how freight is supposed to work, none of this changes. The only people that are really suffering right now, and there are plenty out there, and I'm not going to say that there isn't.
Yeah.
But if you're a spot board junkie, whether you're a broker or a carrier doing that, yeah, you're fucked. But if you're doing business the right way, if you're a carrier and a broker that are partnering up together, if you're a broker that, first of all, you actually have customers, you just don't hit load boards to look for business. You have carriers that you match with shippers, which is what a freight brokerage is supposed to do. Then you are running contract lanes and you're doing it at a very high margin. If you are a carrier and you are getting your loads from a broker on a dedicated basis, that is contractual freight, that's paying you higher. Now you are also spending less time with all the other bullshit that goes into running your business, so your expenses are down. If we went back to what freight brokerage is supposed to be, none of this hurts as much. But a lot of people in freight don't want to do this. We are coming out of a time of complete excess. Mm-hmm. And yes, and it's mentioned in here, a lot of the registrations, this is very true. A lot of the recent registrants in the industry are the individual owner op.
Yeah.
So yes, those guys are going to feel it. What I don't like is it leaves you right there. Those guys never really leave the industry. First of all, they never truly came out of nowhere from the industry. They were already somewhere else and decided to go on their own authority. When they decide that they can't keep this going because, hey, it's not as easy as it used to be, they just roll into somebody else's fleet. Like the trucks never leave.
Yeah. No,
the guy doesn't. His business goes out of business, right? But he's not out on the street.
Yeah.
He just goes and runs for someone else.
No, exactly. And because you're talking about the net revocations that are out there.
And first of all, why leave that in there?
I know. And that was my thing.
They do note it. They say that 4,000 of these are wrong, but it optically looks worse than it is if you leave that in.
No, absolutely. And again, I just don't feel the need to put all of that in there because, again, it tells a partial truth. And that's what people don't need to see because it's like, again, people are going to read this and, that's my biggest concern is people see this and then, they might be in that position where it's like, well, fuck it. Maybe I will just sell everything. And I just don't want that to happen. And like, because it's like, man, it goes on. Cause like, again, doing my research on there on average, historically 4,000 to 7,000 new entrants enter the industry every single month. 4,000 to 7,000 MCs are registered every single month that are out there. Over the height of the pandemic, there was about 10,000 a month. That's coming from my man, Adam Wingfield, because he knows the owner op and small carrier game better than anybody out there. And, so it's like when we're talking about this, it goes on to say all the cool kids are becoming owner operators in 2022. And then it's, it goes on to that new trucking fleets poured in there 100, because it goes from July 2020, that 195,000 new entrants have entered into the industry. So, 24 months, if we divide that by 195,000, that's about 8,000 new entrants per month over that 24-month cycle of where we're at today, for example. So again, that's pretty much right on par that the same entrance, maybe slightly elevated, based off of the information that I had found out there. And, for me, it's just there's enough freight out there right now. There is enough freight. And when we're looking at the freight industry as a one size fits all, this is because it's always the headline of this is the national average of this, but that doesn't tell the full story. Again, me being actively involved in this industry, I know there are a lot of lanes out there that pay significantly higher than this said national average that's out there. And again, it's that headline that someone's going to see. And again, everybody's responsible for their own actions in life. I'm not here to tell anybody to do one thing or another, except for to do your own research on this stuff and stop fucking, painting this failure, doom and gloom that everyone's going to fucking lose everything. That's what I hate the most about a lot. And this isn't just this article. It's a lot of the headlines that I see out there is it's painting a narrative of fucking quitting. And that's what I don't like, because anybody out there who advocates for somebody to willingly go out of business, fuck you. All right. If you think that you can convince somebody that they should do it because of what your opinion is, you've never fucking started a business before. There's no playbook for this shit. You don't know how fucking hard it is. All right. And that's just my biggest issue with a lot of this stuff that comes out is there's no path to, hey, try this. It's not even uttered in there of, if I was in that position right now, if I was over leveraged, this is what I would recommend you can do. That's what I don't see out there in mainstream media. That's why we go live every day, is to provide fucking solutions for people to follow. I digress.
I went and ran the numbers myself because this stuff interested me. So since the end of 2021 to the first 4 months of the year, 98,000 trucks were added. There were only 46,000 drivers that were added. So first of all, half those trucks don't even have somebody sitting in it. They're not being used. And then, you said 4,000 to 7,000 a month. There are 21,127 one truck, one driver ads in the first 4 months of the year. So typical business, typical growth, nothing out of the ordinary. Yes, they're coming in at a time now when the rate they receive is down, and conceivably they purchased price or assets at really, really high prices, given what we've seen in the used truck space. And that sucks. But these are very, very large assumptions. We don't always know the full story. And given that I have been told by bankers themselves on how to finance the less than optimal trucks, as long as you bundle it with brand new trucks, you get a nice rate. And that's why that game continued. It wasn't about the individual. If you stop and think about this, what single person that does not have the money for it is going out and getting a loan for $100,000 for a 7-year-old truck? No bank is underwriting that. It didn't happen.
Yeah. No, I get it. And then, like, to close out this article, it goes on, that there's one way out for small truckers, but that opportunity is closing. There will never be if you have a valid CDL and you have experience as a truck driver, you will always be able to find a job. All right. Plain and simple. So this thing is a massive lie, in my opinion, that window is closing.
90+% driver turnover.
Yeah. I feel that no matter what, because again, this is just OTR that we're talking about here. LTL carriers, there's local grain haul, everything. There are multiple jobs.
Yeah, it gets lumped in on that. They quote the 2 million drivers. Yes, 2 million. How much of that's LTL? How much of that is drayage? How much of that is a Class 8, but it's not really over the road? It's a truck that's running 7 miles a day. It's the same load that they run every single day back and forth. It's different.
Yeah. And because that's the thing. It says, what's more is there may not be more jobs available at big carriers. They're always hiring. All right. Always. I've never not driven around and seen yards, and see, this is like the benefit of actually going out and meeting people in the industry. Every single business owner that you talk to always says, I will hire somebody if they're right for the job, and especially when it comes to drivers with a valid CDL, active CDL, clean driver, all that shit. Check this article out on your own. And again, as always, you guys do your own research on this stuff. This is my opinion on a lot of this information that I see out there. That article was a great purge, is pushing the smaller trucking companies out of business at an unprecedented rate. Yeah. So next article, ttnews.com, fuel costs renew focus on empty miles. And I know, like, we were just talking about this last night, and I, this is a subtle shout out to my friends over at Emerge on their, they have all of this stuff baked into their platform or marketplace, for you to utilize to get you in touch with those direct shipper relationships that can identify to help you reduce your deadhead miles and everything else. Because I think in any freight market, though, and this is the thing, is I want this as an emphasis for every freight market. Why are you deadheading 100 miles if a load is available 25 miles away, that although the sticker price might be slightly different, is going to pay you more in the long run, because it's the lost time, the lost productivity. I mean, I just know that, again, I've only moved three full truckloads in my career. So I know this happened once, is that a driver deadheaded 100 miles for a load, and then the load wasn't available anymore. And then they had to deadhead another 100 miles. So again, it's like identifying these little efficiencies that are out there, and especially with fuel. And it's like, again, I fucking hate that fuel is very high right now, but I also view this as, this is an opportunity to learn how to run your business lean So when fuel comes back down, I'm hoping it does. Like, I'll be singing a different tune if it doesn't. But when fuel lowers, like, we got to keep operating that way, because that's where your additional revenue is really identified and ran through.
So all valid points. And the last thing you just said touched on what I was getting at earlier when I said that something like the removal of the gas tax doesn't do anything for the idea of demand destruction and forcing change on behavior. So this is an opportunity right now. This is why markets are open in the way that they are. So we're in a time where this forces us to say, hey, yes, price of diesel sucks. What can we do to make this hurt less? And you end up tackling problems that have always been in front of you. And another reason why this is such a bad problem right now is think of where we were when things got really crazy and rates exploded. Fuel was still very cheap. So who cares if you're going to deadhead 80 miles when fuel's half of what it is now and spot rates were double what they are now? You can do whatever you want, right? I don't have a problem. Well, now I have a problem because both of them are going in opposite directions. So we look back and we get away from the poor behavior that got exacerbated just a year past and start to tackle some of the industry issues that we've had always moving forward. And that's the sense that it's very, very easy. You can get it. Everybody can put this in their head and start to put themselves in someone else's shoes. It's super easy just to look at the revenue side of the ledger, right? Oh, this is what I'll get if I go and pick that up. But you forget what your costs are that are associated with that. And another huge component of all of this is the fact that it's very easy to end up with empty miles and deadheads when you're running ad hoc, when you're putting everything spot, you're planning last minute. Another reason why, if you start to do this the right way and plan things out and have dedicated freight, you're not going to have the same sort of empty miles. You're going to chase spot loads and spot rates. You're going to end up deadheading a lot. But if you're just going to run consistent freight and keep your costs down, yes, the rev side comes down potentially. But when your costs are down, like you keep saying, you make more money. And that's the whole point in all this. This industry is so concerned with the vanity metric of revenue, whether you're a broker or a carrier, that we all lose sense of profit.
Or a tech company. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm right there with you, because again, it's like, I think about, because it's like, yeah, remove the megas from this equation. They're going to be immune for, I can't say immune, but they're going to weather through this storm. They'll be fine in the long run. But that person who's out there right now, again, if you have bought at peak prices for your trailer and for your truck and your insurance and everything else, and because again, Adam, Adam Wingfield told me out there, break evens are into the almost 220 a mile is where they're at right now with everything, all things considered. But if you look at the national, again, I fucking hate using the national average model here, but again, you look at that all in with fuels, we're still pushing 270 a mile, I believe, right now. Last time I checked, but again, I could be wrong, I could be off, give or take a little bit of that of all in with fuel, which still bakes in profit, albeit not a ton of profit, but it still bakes in profit right now. So back to my initial point of don't fucking quit. Like, put a business plan together. Again, Saturday, July 2nd, Adam Wingfield is having a broker, or it's not a broker. He'd probably punch me in the face for saying that. Small carrier training boot camp about breaking down all of this stuff and putting together a business plan to navigate through. To Kyle's point out there, it is looking for that consistent freight. I guarantee you right now, more than ever, you guys, you got to look into it from this perspective. All right. July 11th, the week of July 11th, my tinfoil hat prediction is there will be a fucking reckoning in this market. All right. All of you people out there who took advantage of this market, charged sky high prices and still failed, provided shitty service, you probably should fire up the fucking phones right now. Because we all know I'm guilty of a lot of this shit too in my career. I'm not immune to this. But what is going to happen is that a lot of, if you've been doing the right thing, put it this way, I think you're going to have more business organically just thrown to you than you've ever done. And that's just by doing the right thing over these last 2 years. But with that being said, there will be slots available. So if you're a small trucking company that's out there and you're not owning your backyard, whatever town you're in right now, or draw a 30-mile radius circle around you and go in and introduce yourself to everybody in that market. Do your research out there. DAT has some great tools out there that you can pull up lane by lane breakdown on where some of these rates are. Know your costs, know your break-even points, but more importantly, know where your profit margin needs to be, and go in there and ask for consistent freight on a 30-day basis. A lot of these shippers right now are going to give you that opportunity, in my opinion. I'm not going to say everybody's going to do that because, again, you got to earn that business, but that business is out there for you to have that direct partnership with the shipper. If you want to eliminate the broker, or also, there are some great brokers out there. There are a lot of great brokers out there who know exactly what they're doing. They're the ones whose businesses are going to fucking explode here over the next 12 months due to a lot of this, because they've done the right thing. They've treated their carriers right. They're keeping their carriers profitable. They're keeping their customers profitable. So the opportunity is plentiful. All I would highly recommend right now is it's not too late. All right. It's never too late to put a business plan together if you don't have one. Know your break even, know your profit margin, and go out there and find that dedicated business. So I know we're out of time. We only got to 2 articles. That's fine. But
have we ever done all 3?
No, I don't think we have. And see, that's why we gotta push this. This show's eventually just going to turn into an hour at this point.
I stopped at 1.
I know. That's the thing. That's the beauty of the network, man, is we're going to be fucking rolling all day. Eventually it's going to spawn out and it's going to be the largest blue collar media company on earth is what it's going to happen. But right now we're tackling freight. So
it's small little industry to tackle.
I know, just tiny. It's just insignificant. But yeah, man, that's it for today. How can anybody reach out to you? Do you have any news you want to tell people, or?
No. You can find me on LinkedIn, lurking around other people's comments and trying to be the arbiter of truth, but that's about it.
Yeah, it's all right. Unless you're blocked, then you can't really comment on anything. But that's it for today, everybody. It's Friday. It's freight. Go enjoy your day. Get out there. 24-hour freight news network. Yeah, Michelle, we could do that. I mean, I personally, I'll give it a whirl. I'll try and go as fucking long as I possibly can before I physically am ill. But yeah, that's not off the board. Nothing's off the board. But that's it for today, you guys. Reach out to my man, Kyle. Kyle and I talk a lot. He provides me a ton of insight because, frankly, I don't know everything. That's why I surround myself with people who know a hell of a lot more than me. Because, again, this is all about education and progress. This is all about keeping people in business, not ever alluding to the fact that you should quit, because we don't fucking quit here at the Freight Coach Network. We find solutions, we provide education and value, and we move this industry forward. So that's it for today. Share the show. That's all I can ask of you guys. Share the show, please. Because if you saw value in it, your network is going to see value in it as well. I appreciate you guys all so much. We'll talk to you on Monday, the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show